Let's go through some easy steps to immediately connect with any prospect. I was just on a sales call, and I very rarely do them, and it was actually a post-sales call. The client had purchased our service, and he bought it from Robert, the CEO of X27, and he wanted to talk to me. Usually I don't do that, but it was a very big purchase, and he paid for a year up front, so I'll talk to him. And he was a great guy. But the reason why I bring that up at all is because there are a couple things I did on that call to immediately connect with him, and it just comes naturally to me now. I'm not reading off a piece of paper when I'm on these calls or anything, but there are some things that I do that allow me to connect with people immediately and avoid coming off like a robot, and I want to talk about those today. What are some easy steps that you can follow to immediately connect with any prospect? Stick around. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. Learn how to book meetings with billion-dollar brands and take your company to the next level at email10k.com. The first thing I like to do is ask a provocative question or talk about something that's kind of in the gray zone. I think the world right now is in this zone of like PC, like I need to talk in the most PC way possible, and I'm scared of going into my true opinion because then I'm gonna get canceled or something. Like that's what everyone's worried about that. So if you approach your calls as somebody who's not following that, most of the time, you can get somebody to become your friend almost immediately and open up immediately. So on this call, it was right around Thanksgiving, and he asked what I was up to. And I opened with, I'm trying to decide if I should go see family or not because of the lockdowns and everything. So in the media, you would say that everyone has decided to stay home for the holidays and not travel. But in reality, and what everybody is thinking is, should I stay home or not? So that's what I started. I was like, should I stay home or not? And then he opened up about Corona and the lockdowns, and I was able to let him pace and use his political views. And so we were able to go down that road. We've also had clients that were Scientologists, and I've been able to pivot that way too. Like somebody brought up, I don't know if I should even tell this story, I don't want to get nailed by the Church of Scientology, but I remember we were sitting on the top floor of this hotel that the client's family owned, and they said, Alex, you love Grant Cardone, right? And I said, yeah, he's okay. He's a Scientologist, right? Fully expecting to go on this anti-Scientology rant to connect with them, which is what everybody would do at this point. But this client happened to be a Scientologist, and they said, yeah, he is a Scientologist. He's always in the magazines. We love that he's a Scientologist. And at that point, I changed my tune. I got them to express their political beliefs, and that stopped me from going on the anti-Scientology rant, which would have gotten me blacklisted from them. And so we were able to work together, and I didn't express my anti-Scientology views. But I was able to ask a provocative question. I talked about Scientology. They were pro-Scientology, so I was able to move on without going into this crazy anti-Scientology rant. The same with the other client. He was, I don't even want to say in case, he had an opinion on Thanksgiving that I was able to talk around or talk about in a way that got us on the same page. So starting with that provocative or slightly un-PC question can help you become friends very, very quickly and build a rapport insanely fast. And they say don't talk about religion and don't talk about politics. But if you say it in a way that's not like, hey, how excited are you that Joe Biden's gonna finally destroy Donald Trump? If you say it like that, then if they're pro-Trump, you lost them. But if you say, hey, crazy election we're having right now, then whatever political belief they have is gonna come up. You can either mirror it or talk around it, and you can become friends with them. Because they say to avoid religion or politics, but if you guys share religion or a political belief, you guys become best friends. So if you can get them to express their religion or hint at their political beliefs, it's a really good way to jump in. Another thing that's worth stating here is if you want to connect with people quick, turn off your enthusiasm. Some salespeople will approach with a fake level of enthusiasm.
Hey, how's it going? You want to buy something?
Be as close to yourself as possible. Like, be yourself on a good day. Like, don't be yourself on a day that you're so depressed you're not gonna get out of bed, but be yourself on a good day. Don't be
this guy, because you're not this guy. Nobody's talking like this.
Nobody's like this. Maybe a waiter at a restaurant. So turn off that aggressive enthusiasm and find a level of enthusiasm that works for you, that comes off happy, that comes off positive, but isn't
this.
Another thing to do if you really want to connect with a prospect instantly is make the call all about them. What are they doing? How's their holiday going? How's their business? Don't rant about yourself or talk about yourself, even though I love doing it. I know it's natural to want to talk about yourself, but if you can talk about them, the more you can talk about them, the more they're going to like you. And that brings us right to our next point, which is seek to understand key challenges. You want to figure out what's actually going on in their business. And by doing what I talked about before, if you guys are connecting and you're best friends and you're not another salesperson to them, they'll tell you things about their business that they wouldn't tell other people, and that will allow you to actually help them. Basically, ask the discovery questions that we talk about in one of our other videos. You can grab all of our discovery questions down below, but you want to approach them like you're a doctor diagnosing an illness. And so you want to ask questions about their symptoms and really seek to understand what their challenges are. Another good thing is to have more people in the pipeline so that when you blow it by trying to follow the first tip, because it is a fine line, you can always have more people in the pipeline. So follow a solid cold emailing strategy like we talk about in Email 10K to connect with more prospects over email. That way you're booked solid. So you can really bungle it 3 or 4 times in a row and still have meetings left. If every meeting is valuable, like that little item from Indiana Jones, if that's your prospect, you're trying to just steal that one prospect, you're gonna blow it. You want your prospect to be more like all the cartons of milk at the grocery store. You can buy any of those. You can work with any of these millions of prospects that are around here. That way, you have the freedom to do what you want and not feel like you're boxed into some kind of spin selling method. Because that's what we really want. We want freedom. We don't want to have to pretend to be someone we're not on these calls. And the best way to get freedom is to have a lot of chances. Another great way to connect with people is to talk less. I know I'm talking a lot because this is me talking to you via video, but on sales calls, I'll ask a question like, hey, I know you've tried growing your business before and doing marketing before. What are some of the marketing tactics that you've tried and what worked and what didn't work? A question like that can get a client going for 3-4 minutes. And I try not to interrupt them at all. I usually don't even say things like, or, oh, wow, I've seen that before. I usually just let them keep talking. And if I do say anything, it's questions like, oh, wow, tell me more. Or things like that that'll just get them to talk. Because the more they're talking, the more you're learning. It's not a manipulation technique to get them to talk a bunch so they like you more, although that does work. You want them to talk so you can actually learn about their business and figure out if you can even help them or not. And finally, if you're just totally in the dark, you can use surveys to understand and connect more and learn more about these prospects. And we talked about this in the customer research video that we did, where we talked about how we improved our course by talking to the people on our email list. So if you use surveys or you use these open-ended interviews, you can learn a lot about what your prospects really want. And then when you go in on your sales calls, you have a very deep understanding of who they are. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. So you don't have a business idea, huh? Do you want to know what the best business to start is, regardless of market conditions? Check out the free presentation at email10k.com. We have over 200 students that are crushing it using this business strategy, even during this time. So check that out, email10k.com. Let me know down below, what was the most interesting part of this video? Smash that like button to encourage this type of content. For real, YouTube loves that. Just boom, tap that, and we'll all be helped out by that. Join Email 10K if you want to grow your business. Subscribe for more videos like this. We do videos 3 times a week, all about sales, sales training, entrepreneurship, how to grow your business, cold email, etc. So if you want to improve, stick around, check out our past videos. And that's that. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.